I've been in business over 10 years and I've now done over 10 million in e-com sales. The best part, I literally only work 4 hours a week, okay? And this gives me the freedom literally to live here in Bali and help entrepreneurs just like you do exactly the same. But here's the thing, I'm not here to sell you a dropshipping course or any sort of get rich quick scheme, okay? Like for me, this is about building real brands that work completely without you. Now, the secret, it's not about working harder. From my perspective, it's about leveraging systems so you can work smarter. And guys, I've literally made all of the mistakes in the book. And the thing is, I've done this so that you don't have to. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how I build businesses that run completely on autopilot and how you can do exactly the same in your own brand. All right, guys, let's get into it. So I'm just firing up one of my many Shopify dashboards. You can see this has done almost 70K US, okay? And this has been with pretty much zero input from me. Store conversion rate is amazing, it's consistent, and one thing that's probably quite interesting for you to see is this hasn't just been one spike of sales. This is pretty consistent all the way through the month, so it's not like we've just run a sale or a campaign. Like this is literally sustainable over time, and I'm going to show you on the whiteboard how you can do exactly the same. First things first then, we are going to want to set up our systems. Now, your systems are comprised of maybe 3 or 4 key components or moving parts of your business that you're going to want to have dialed in, because if you don't have your systems on lock, it is impossible for you to run, manage, or scale any business. And let's get into exactly what they're going to be. So your first one is going to be your website. So by website, I'm talking about your landing page, your PDP, your product page, homepage, if you want one, about us. That's it. Doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. Second one, and the one that everyone sleeps on, is your emails. And I'm going to split this up into 2 separate components. You have your flows, and then you have your regular campaigns. And campaigns, I would recommend do at least 2 or 3 every week. And then your flows are basically all of the automations that run 24/7. They never break. It's not like they can only have 200 through each flow. Like you can have 10,000, a million. It doesn't make any difference. These 2 working together in tandem is what literally allows you to scale infinitely. Now, on the back end, you're going to have your 3PL, and you're going to have your manufacturing. I don't need to go into too much explanation on these, but your 3PL, this is what allows you, again, to be hands-off on the business as opposed to you being stuck in it. For example, if you're doing the picking and packing yourself, you only have 24 hours in the day. You need to be able to leverage team systems so that they can do the pick, packing and handling returns. Otherwise, it's physically impossible for you to do. You might as well have a brick and mortar store. And then your manufacturer on the front end who's actually making the product. Again, if you don't have all of your supply chain in place, as soon as you start hitting volume, you're going to have problems, you're going to run into issues. So making sure these 2 are talking to each other, everything is linking up, there's no problems on raw materials, whatever you need to do on the back end to bring your product to life, make sure that's all dialed in. Now, everything that feeds this here is going to be the big one. So if we're talking about living this 4-hour work week, the only way this becomes a reality for you is spending your time on marketing, sales and marketing, particularly so in the early days. This, as the founder, CEO, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, this is where your time, energy, attention needs to be focused. So if I can just bracket this as ads, and then within your ads, we can go platform specific, so TikTok, Meta, whatever, Google, okay? There's lots of these, all right? Social media, influencer marketing, all of this side of things. This feeds this. Once you have this, it feeds that. These link up into here, and you end up with a happy customer. Brilliant. And let's be honest, guys, the reason most people get into e-com in the first place is they want that time, location, and financial freedom. And when I'm talking again about doing less and working smarter, you have to be able to leverage and fall back onto systems, because if not, again, the business will own you. And what's the point, okay? Even if you switch and successfully switch to running a successful business from being in a 9-to-5, you're still time starved, all right? And actually, it can be even more of it can be worse, because at least in a 9-to-5, you have a regular paycheck. At least in a 9-to-5, you have hours, yeah? Like you have hours that you can work, prescribed hours. Whereas when you're running like headless chicken trying to run your business. You go from working 5 days a week to working 7 days a week, but 24 hours a day. And trust me, I've been there. It's no fun. This is why you must have dialed in systems. Otherwise, this 4-hour work week will forever be a pipe dream. Systems. Systems is one of the most important things for you to have set up if you're actually wanting to work a 4-hour work week successfully and print. I'm not talking make like a couple extra $100 a month. I'm talking we're making real money, 50, 100, 200K a month. Now, when I mean systems allow you scale. And by scale, I mean you have infrastructure in place that can handle 10 orders the exact same way as it can handle 10,000 orders. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do and have in place for you to be able to emulate and plug into your own business. The second most important factor for you to have in place with your e-com brand, if you want to live and work this 4-hour work week, is you need to understand how to delegate as opposed to doing. So let me just write this down. All right. Now, what do I mean by delegation? Delegation for me means there's something that you can do, but you choose not to do it. Why would you do that? Very simple. There are others out there who do this, whatever particular task, and they actually enjoy it and they're 10 times better than you. So think about it. I'm talking leverage here. Would you rather spend 6, 12, 18 months perfecting a skill set that's going to take you time that you can't get back? Or would you rather invest and save time, effort, energy, resource, and eventually money by hiring someone who is literally plug and play? Now, guys, I get it. In the beginning, it can be hard for you to be able to afford paid professionals. But if you can have this as a milestone goal, something for you can work towards, because if you are this generalist e-com brand owner, to start with, that's absolutely fine. It's a very steep learning curve. But the second that you can actually divert some of that income and start to pay paid professionals, this, for me personally, is when things really started to take off, because I was doing a mediocre job. I thought I was doing good, but then when I actually hired someone, I could just use, for example, email marketing, that inflection point looking back, I think when things really started to be dialed in and take off is when I had a paid professional who understood and had the depth and breadth of knowledge to be able to plug all of their knowledge and systems into my own brand. It was a game changer. So this is why delegation becomes super important for you if you are wanting to live that 4-hour work week. Again, we're talking about conserving time and energy so you can do things that you actually want to do. Again, just sticking on that theme of you running a business that allows you time, financial, and location freedom. If you're in the weeds, if you're doing the work, that again is just physical impossibility for you, particularly so because you have so many different hats to wear on a daily, hourly, weekly basis to actually run and scale your brand. So when I'm talking about delegation, there's different ways you can do this, but the things that I would actually delegate to start with would be your email marketing. So the reason I say this, email marketing is a bit of a blended skill set because you need to understand two things, copywriting and graphic design. And if they are not within your core skill set, there's opportunity cost built in there inherently if you're not getting it right. It's also very time consuming, particularly so to begin with when you're writing flows, because there's so many of them. You need to be able to understand how to interpret the data and take action on the back of it. And I need you to be writing 2 or 3 minimum campaigns to go out to your database, ideally in a segmented format every single week. So doing this is going to be key. Next one, most people sleep on, is your accountancy. Cash in an e-com business is king. And it can sometimes be quite convoluted as to how everything plugs together and works. So the faster you can get someone in to help you understand and work through the numbers. Remember, we're not in this to show revenue. We're in this for a lifestyle. We're in this to show profit. And if you don't understand your numbers, your business will forever consume your literally day and night. It's horrible. It's not a nice place. And again, I'm speaking from experience, because if you're doing, I don't know, 40, 50, 60K a month and you're still in the red and you're like, well, where's all this money going? You must understand this. It's literally one of the cardinal rules of e-com. So the quicker you can get someone who knows what they're doing, financial controller, accountant, whatever you want to call them, get that going straight away. Next thing is going to be ads. So I don't necessarily think the running of ads to start with is important to outsource, but once you start getting to scale, This is where having some of the strategies, tools, and leveraging someone who's working on other brands, this becomes really, really important, because they can take what's working, they have a much better and broader data set than you, and you can leverage everything that they're doing or what's working or not working for other brands, plug it straight into your own business. Other things, if you really want to get into it, we can do customer service. I remember early days being on my phone 24/7 replying to customers, and I had a pre-sales and also post-sales. So this is people who are coming on the website on the live chat, talking to 5 or 6 people at a time, and then on the back end, so there's problems with orders, delivery, shipping issues. I was getting in the weeds, and this is so time consuming, and it's really, really, really important to get it right, to get the sale over, to make sure that your customers are happy. But in terms of where your high income generating tasks are, as the entrepreneur, CEO, founder, this is really low. So if you can outsource customer service as quickly as possible, this for me freed up like 70% of my bandwidth. So move quick on this, all right? Now, the delegation, again, we could do a whole video on this, but it's basically anything that falls out of your scope or skill set that isn't revenue generating. And this is how you really start to scale, because you understand, or you start to get a better or clearer understanding of where do you need to be spending your time. And the analogy I want to give you is, imagine I have a gun to your head. You can only work 4 hours this week, but you have to be able to move the needle, sustain sales, and grow the brand without doing everything. Which parts from your perspective are you good at that actually bring you revenue? And this can take a bit of time to understand, but understanding this is literally one of the most important things you'll ever do. Number 3 is building your brand. So there's always a big battle, I say online, between dropshipping and brand building. If you're just getting started out, the happy medium that I recommend everyone does is you start with branded dropshipping. So you're not in that pump and dump cycle. You're still maybe white labeling someone else's product, but what you're looking for to start with is you're looking to establish product market fit, and you're looking for a particular segment of customers to solve a very real pain point for. Now, we're not going to get into it, it's out of the scope of this video, but building a brand, this is how you get to that 4-hour work week. And there's a multitude of reasons why, so I'll keep it concise. First and foremost is you actually are able to stretch out the lifetime value of your customer, particularly so if you have a product that's consumable. You can attract more customers because you are operating within a very specific niche. Again, all of this stuff equals more cash, by the way. You also have space. And what do I mean by space? By space, I mean you have a protective moat around your business. So it's not like someone just come and rip what you're doing. If you have a brand, or even to begin with, the branded dropshipping store, automatically you have a clear point of differentiation that's separating you from the competition. So if someone does want to rip off exactly what you're doing, it's way harder for them to do. This then kind of cycles back into LTV a little bit, because once you get a customer, you keep a customer. And if we're using the example of supplements, for example, most of your money when they're kind of smaller average order values, most of your profit is made on the back end, all right? So you can attract more customers, you can retain them for longer. People, it's harder for anyone to copy you. The other thing is data. You actually own everything that you have, as opposed to it going to someone else's product or brand. And the big one for me anyway is your exit value. So you're building something that has the potential to give you life-changing amounts of money, because this is something you've carved and created. And the IP, which is kind of linked to this, IP, by IP I mean intellectual property, so customer data, you've segmented and you've created your own niche. This is the reason I started my brand anyway. Yes, I wanted the time, location, and financial freedom in the interim, but the North Star goal was always, I'm building something to sell. And I'm not talking for like 200K, I'm talking 10, 20, 30 million. And if you have or decide to build your own brand, which I recommend you do, this is where the real life-changing money comes into play. So that's it, guys. Super simple, really actionable. Now, if you are struggling a little bit, if you have a dropshipping store, a branded dropshipping store, or you're building your own brand and you're feeling a bit lost, a bit stressed, you don't know where your next sale's coming from, or you have no systems in place to be able to give you predictable revenue, I want to help you. Now, to do that, I've made a free course. I put it together completely free. The link is in the description, so put your email in. And this is going to help you set up your business and life so you can copy exactly what I do. So we're talking making 70, 80, 100, 200K a month, just working 4 hours a week. Completely for free. No, there's no expectations, no obligations from my side, but I really want you to read this information because this has literally life-changing potential. So don't sleep on it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.